I'll listen to the argument and I want to give my opinion. And I know.
I'm asking for your opinion,
Huh? I know you.
and you're not giving it to me.
But do you think that, why do you think the Confederate, the name of the Confederate Railroad should be, yeah.
It's just the name of a band. Got nothing to do with the Confederate.
The Confederate, then why
You
do they
made
have?
you made the point of the Confederate
Sir.
flag shouldn't be flown using taxpayer money.
It's got nothing, why does it have the name Confederate? If it
Because
has
that's the
nothing-
name of the band they wanted.
Well, what if they were the Hitler Nazi band? Would you like that? Well, that's just a
There's
name,
no-
that doesn't represent Nazism just because it says Nazi.
Do you think people are gonna go see that band?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
I think they'd go
The
see the Nazi
The
band.
Nazi band?
Yes, I think they would come out in
I'm
droves.
glad you're not in
Unfortunately.
charge of bringing
I'm
bands to the fair.
Well, what's the difference between
So
people
take
who
that.
fought for slavery and incarceration for hundreds of years and forcing people to work?
That was a small.
mail.
I'm
A small part of it's
Yeah.
400 million.
First, I didn't see yours. I'm like, oh, you got left out.
They lost, it's over and done with.
We have a Confederate band coming to this guy, a northern town.
It's not a Confederate band.
Just because
It's a
that's a-
country western
that's a
band.
pretty hard spell if you say it's not a Confederate band, but it says Confederate. That's like saying Nazi doesn't mean Nazi.
Okay.
Well, it is. It's exactly the same thing.
If you don't like it, too bad.
You're saying Confederate doesn't mean Confederate.
It's just the name of a band.
Nazi's just a name too. You wouldn't have a Nazi band.
AC/DC. Is AC/DC making fun of the LGBT? I don't think so.
I don't even
Name
know
of a
what they play.
band.
I don't.
Entertainment.
Like I said.
Doing great. How about you?
All right.
That's true.
I don't understand what they're. We should have just required them to make the deposit with the bid.
Yeah,
Projects hasn't. Didn't pay the 5,000 yet or signed the paperwork, so.
Yes, I should have kept that.
The Courier actually closed.
Yeah,
yep.
I heard it. Yeah, they went out of business.
I
Is
just
there
got a
from, what,
notice.
where is the place from? It's out of town, by the way. So, yeah. Wasn't local owned anymore, it was out of town, so they imagine it cost too much to operate it. Yeah, there's
I heard there was the company that owned it, there were several small town
Towns,
companies.
yeah. That's why it takes so many ads to keep it going, and you don't get them.
Nope.
You know, a lot of people, that's their only source of, you know, if you don't have something, that's probably their only source of getting, you know, information.
You like one, Steve?
Love it. Thank you, Dan.
I'll give a. Let's figure it out. Yeah.
So just the way it is.
Not what you were thinking.
Wow. Actually,
This is the one.
yeah. What do I have? Second ones.
Which one?
Who's second ones? I think those.
From Hay.
Well, it's because he called a line, it was because of the amount of snow cover and all that affected all that. There's so much snow on top of the solar panels. Didn't need any power generation at that time. We weren't getting the benefit of the solar panel.
They went up and shoveled her up.
And so that's why.
My problem with them putting them on the roof.
Yeah. You don't.
Same way down here at,
Oh, it'll be.
oh, we got it down.
You don't have that problem there, so.
We still have. Started. See, no, okay, we put them down. Upper for like,
Oh, yes.
their roof's a little steeper though,
Yeah.
if you wanna be out, that's why we want them. So, snow flying off. Or even if you're in town, you got a lot of trees.
Well, you don't want,
get the
they got,
sunshine.
they got up there and shovel part of this recycling, but still, and that's worse. You don't want people up there and ice on the roof.
You don't wanna put the darkest color. Yeah.
The difference.
Yeah.
Good. Well, if they could, put heaters on.
Yeah.
So you can use some electricity so that you can make electricity.
So this is pretty.
Oh, that's, yeah, it's a monthly.
Some point, state.
Number of what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Not even the same guy. Yeah.
I've been trying to figure that out.
Okay.
Well, it's 9:30. All those that so choose, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order with everyone present, 4 in person, 1 electronically. As a reminder, the meeting is being recorded. If you choose not to be recorded, you have the option of leaving. First item on the agenda this morning, Kevin Lee and others to discuss the supervisor's involvement with public money and budget items. Go ahead, Kevin.
Good morning. Members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here because county funding and institutional support are being provided to the county fair where the Confederate flag will be displayed. Regardless of individual intentions, that choice places responsibility with this board. When public money is involved, there is no longer a neutral or a private matter.
Kevin, I'll stop you right away. Our money that we donate to the Bear Board goes to the 4-H and for building maintenance and repairs as per code, Iowa Code 174.13, chapter 174. Money does not go to the entertainment.
Okay. Can I finish my report?
Well, is it gonna be directed at entertainment, or is it gonna be directed at public money, involvement and budget?
Public money and involvement, budget,
Okay.
and the entertainment. Oh.
Well, the entertainment should be left out because we have nothing to do with the entertainment.
I guess I can just leave you with this information because it doesn't sound as if you want me to speak.
But I'm not trying to quiet you, as long as what you have to talk about is the public money and budget items. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, there's some reasons behind the budget and what's happening with your budget. They have connotations on how things are enacted in the foresight of our community. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll answer any questions associated with public money and budget items.
Well, I still think it'd be a really good idea to listen to reasoning behind why the public would be in an uproar over decision-making of financing the fair from this body.
It's not from this body.
Well,
This board
nonetheless,
has nothing to do with entertainment at Winneshiek County Fair.
Okay, I guess I'm not an auditor, but I can accept that. But there were iterations in the last meeting about the whole situation, and I felt that it was very unfair to the community as to how they were put out. And that's why I did some historic study. In fact, you yourself mentioned that we should all do our due diligence and do some study work, and that's exactly what I did.
Okay.
And so I would like to at least finish my my report. I put quite a bit of work into this. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for letting me speak. I think that's a very appropriate thing to do. The Confederate flag is not an abstract or generic historic symbol. It is most widely recognized emblem of government and succeeded from the United States for the explicit purpose of preserving slavery. That is not a modern interpretation. It is stated plainly in the Confederacy's own documents. Mississippi's Declaration of Succession says, quote, "Our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery. This is not nonsense. The enslavement of African American people relied on systematic physical, psychological, and sexual violence to enforce control and deny basic human dignity. In many places, these practices were enabled by law through slave codes, which treated enslaved people as property rather than as human beings. Physical torture and punishment, examples in Britannica and other historical summaries, whipping and flogging. Beatings were widely used as discipline for perceived infractions such as working too slow, talking back, attempting to escape. Abolitionists later circulated photographs and accounts of survivors' injuries to document these abuses. Mutilation and branding. Some enslavers marked people with brands or used mutilation such as ear cropping and amputation as punishment, particularly for running away with the aim of inflicting pain. stigmatizing the person and deterring others. Restraints and iron devices, chains, shackles, and iron collars were used to restrict movement and prevent escape. Some restraints were designated to make sleeping difficult, to limit people's speaking and eating. Extreme cruelty. Historic records include accounts of torture and other acts intended to terrorize enslaved people and reinforce total control. Descriptions vary by source, but the consistent pattern is deliberate and violent, used in domination. Sexual and reproduction abuse, historic scholarship, and the PBS claim systematic sexual violence. Enslaved people and girls were subject to sexual assault by enslavers and other power. With little or no legal protection, because the enslaved people were treated as property, consent and body autonomy were routinely denied. Forced reproduction in the same context, enslavers coerced relationships and pregnancies to increase the enslaved population for labor and profit. These practices inflicted a long trauma and often led to family separations through sale. Psychological and social violence via the PBS and the Gilder-Lehrman summaries. People's separation, the sale of spouses and parents and children is common and functional as both an economic practice and a tool for control. Many peoples were permanently separated with little hope of reunion. Denial of education and restricted worship. In many states, it was illegal to teach enslaved people to read and write, reflecting the fears that literacy could enable resistance. Religious gatherings were also conducted or monitored, limited community organization and autonomy. Medical exploitation. Enslaved people were sometimes subject to painful medical experimentation and procedures which without consent, and their bodies were exploited by medical institutions in ways that ignored basic human rights. Conditions during the Middle Passage via the Gilder-Lehrman summaries. The transatlantic journey captured Africans were confined in overcrowded ships holds with inadequate food, water, sanitation, medical leave for weeks or months. Many died from disease, dehydration, violence, and other conditions of confinement. Preparation for sale. After arrival, the traders and the enslavers sometimes attempted to conceal signs of illness and injury to maximize sale prices, further treating human beings as commodities. That is the historical context in which this flag was created and used. The physical systems that supported the Confederacy included its railroads, were built to serve slave-based economy, later repurposed for war. They transported cotton produced by enslaved people, later moved troops and weapons and supplies and food to sustain armies fighting to preserve slavery. Historians describe the Civil War as the first major railroad war because Confederate survival depended on its infrastructure. These were not neutral features of history. They were tools of rebellion against the United States. Some argue that the Confederate flag represents heritage, but heritage does not exist in a vacuum. Heritage includes what is defended, who benefited, and who set the price, paid the price. For many residents, especially Black residents, this flag represents a legal ownership of their ancestors as property. Family separation, sexual violence, forced labor, and political system that embedded the racial subordination into law. When that symbol appears at a county-funded public space, it communicates something, whether intended or not. This fair is not a private event or on a private land. It is supported by the county resources. That means public dollars are involved, public value is implicated. Public accountability applies. When the Confederate flag is displayed in a public funded event, the county is not a bystander. It becomes a participant. You cannot credibly claim to welcome the entire community while financing an event that displays a symbol historically used to intimidate, exclude the humanized part of that same community. That contradiction is real and people feel it. Confederate symbols continue to divide communities, not because of people are overly sensitive, but because the history behind them is unresolved and the harm was never repaired. The board has a choice. You can treat this as someone else's problem and pretend the county funding carries no moral weight, or you can acknowledge that the public resources always reflect public values. No amount of nostalgia changes the historical record. No reframing eases what the Confederate flag was created to defend. The question before you is simple. Should the county funds support the public display of a symbol tied directly to slavery and armed rebellion against the United States? I show an example of some of the problems that slavery produced. And also, in one of our historic sites in Winneshiek County, there's a quote that was inscribed in an old historic clock, and it says, "A nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war." When trying to answer your ability about the cost involved in the budget, there's two items on the funding request of fund fiscal year 29, the history that was handed out. I think it was in your last meeting or one before, which I think before this is a precursor to the budget. There's two items that were declined to be funded, and one was the IIHR Water Quality Network, who asked for 17,000 and you responded by 0. The United Way was asking $10,000 and you responded by 0. Winneshiek County Ag Association Fair and the fairground and buildings totaled to be $25,000.
And what was their ask?
15,000.
30
Okay,
each.
30 both, yeah.
Yeah, that's added together.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah, but you are funding them. And a
Yeah.
considerable amount actually compared to some of the other ones which you left at 0, which seem to be very accountable to help in the community. My last comment here, I know when you go by the figures, okay, so you're not funding the entertainment directly. Maybe that's true. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any public workup on that. I'll take you as your word that that's true. The county is a 501c3, and so is the fair. That's the agencies that run the fair are all 501c3. And I gave you the Internal Revenue Code for section 501c3. If you look down about the middle part of that paragraph, it says term charitable is used in its generally accepted legal sense, including relief of poor, distressed, and underprivileged, advancement of religion, advancement of education or science, erecting or maintaining public buildings, monuments, or works, lessening the burden of government, lessening the neighborhood tensions, eliminating prejudice and discrimination, defending human and civil rights secured by law, combating community deterioration and juvenile delinquency. So in light of what the law says, that if these groups that are 501c3, they can lose their status by enacting a group that's called the Confederate Railroad.
There again, that's not this board's problem.
Well, you're supporting it though.
We choose to disagree.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Pardon?
I said we choose to disagree. And you will notice on the asks that we received of the $529,195 that we did fund in the coming budget, that the two that you mentioned, of course, we've had no previous funding over the last numerous budget, both the water network and United Way. Besides that, you'll notice that the only other additional one that we've never funded before was the city of Decorah in the support of their ask for a baseball diamond support from our side to be able to help get their loan. So that's 4.7% of the asks out of that. And we give a lot of money in a lot of other directions and we do not have any input into theirs. If it's NEI, AAA, if it's the RC&D, if it's any of those other ones, we have no input into what those boards do. They ask, they have community benefit, and we give in those areas.
I understand. I also understand that quite possibly you had no idea that the Confederate Railroad was even on the docket when you were discussing the financial for next year. But nevertheless, I think that this board can appropriately ask the 501c3 of the fair to, get a different band, maybe call it the Underground Railroad. That would be much better because that was utilized to transport slaves to north for freedom. Or substitute the monies for the fair into the United Way and the Water Quality Network.
All right, thank
So
you.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Jeff Kuboushek, our recycling supervisor, which approved the hire. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
Well, I promise this will be a lighter note. For collection site monitors, TJ and I did some interviews. And we just would like to recommend, we have a couple here. Lee Getkin, Lloyd Ashbacker, and we do have two other ones. Actually, the other ones work. Gabe Reichs was working for us part-time. He'll be just as needed if one of them two cannot make it. And then Russ inquired also. He's the one doing it now. He's been doing it for 20 years. But he said he would fill in January if we would need some help also. So it would be the four of them and we would kind of rotate in and out. But Russ inquired that he's got a bunch of vacations, so actually he will be starting to use his vacation May 11th. He's going to be gone for the majority of May, all of June. Then he's going to come back in July and work.
And for the public record, Russ
Jowett. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. Jowett. Yep. sorry, he'll be retired then.
That's okay.
July. Yep, July 6th is his actual last day, so he's gonna come back in July and work the first, second, and then, July 6th will be his last.
Who's the third one that's already a part-time person? I'm sorry.
Dave Wright, yep. And he'll be just a fill-in, I mean, if the other guys cannot make it work, and he works for us now, he does some truck driving, he's got a, CDL, which is great, because we've had him, in a truck. He retired from Donaldson's for, I think he was there for close to 40 years, and basically said he was bored at home, so he's been a great addition. But yeah, he's been driving truck, he works sort line, kind of whatever, he's been at the rural waste site, once or twice, so he can fill in as needed also, if we do need him. But that's who we would like to, recommend to you guys, is that.
Entertain a motion to
I would
approve the hires.
motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the hires of Lee Ketkin, Floyd Dashbacker, Dave Reichs, and Russ Jower.
Just as a part-time.
Yes.
All
Yep,
part-time.
yep.
As a clarification, rural waste and recycling are two different budgets, but they combine duties, I guess, in that respect. So that's why.
But yeah, this one, for this, like Russ was full-time, but this we are switching to strictly part-time.
Part-time,
Yep.
yeah. So that saved you.
Trying to save some money.
Yep.
So
And the time change that you're considering,
what we're considering is, or proposing,
Let's finish this. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay.
okay. So right now, we are at, the hours are from 7 to 2, 5 days a week. Considering, unless we have holiday, but that's not. So we're at 7 to 2. What we are proposing is we would take an hour off of that and we would go from 7 to 1 is what we would like to do.
Because I think
Basically, it doesn't
everybody-
affect any of the sites as far as the sites are all gonna stay the same. It's just that we would be done collecting at 1 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock. It aligns better with our hours. At the recycling, we're officially there 6 to 3, but the workers are there from 6 to 2. So if we get there at 1, usually it takes them, by the time they pick the bin up, they come back, so they'd be done at 2 o'clock, same time as the other workers. And we wouldn't be paying any overtime as well for minimizing that hour off. So we're still at 6 hours a day to collect. We've kind of talked about it for a while here. We don't feel that it shouldn't be that detrimental to the pickup. You usually have a few stragglers from the 1 to the 2 o'clock. I mean,
Most of them want the earlier pickup. than-
Right.
It's the morning.
Yeah.
It's the busy times.
So right now you're working 6 to 2.
7 to
7.
7 to 2.
Yeah, yeah, so it'd be 7.
For collection.
Yeah, for the collection, then it
Just
would
cut it
be
down to a 6 hour,
7 to 1.
picking up for 6 hours instead of 7 or sitting there.
And if we would do this, we would start July 6th instead of July 1st is on Wednesday, but
Yeah. I meant within the recycling center.
Oh.
working 6.
we're officially open from 6 to 3, but the main workers are from 6 to 2.
And you're getting a lunch break in between there.
Actually, we don't stop for lunch. We work straight through.
Yeah.
it's allowed by state law.
What's that?
It's allowed by state law.
Okay. That was my question.
Yeah. But we're open till 3 o'clock. Evan
Okay.
and I were usually there
I'd
until
say just
3.
post it at your spots and say, hey,
Monitors will get the word out if it's approved.
And plus we.
like I said, they know how many,
Yep, they kept track from 1 to 2 every hour they.
you know,
Yeah, if you let them know.
And we put it on Facebook and then on the website.
Oh, I'm okay
Just-
with that, so.
The landfill, we take it right now from 7 to 2 also, but we're there till 3:30. So the bag trash, we'll take it till 3:30. We do right now, so.
Meaning that can, when you explain the container that's there.
Yeah,
or-
yeah, so we have a dumpster at the landfill, that rural waste customers can come in 7 to 3:30, and get rid of their, household bag trash, Monday through Friday. Yeah,
That's
also.
For rural waste.
For rural waste, yeah, rural waste customers only, yeah, and
Anyone?
the other one else pays.
Yeah, as long as they have the
The plaque.
placards. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any.
might be some grumbling, always is, but.
The early time, that was always,
Yep.
everybody wanted the early time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, we'll see how it works.
Yeah, it's really not feasible to try to open up at 6 AM to accommodate some of the others that they asked for it.
They'd have to start at 5.
Right.
Yeah, and it's, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so that gives you the hour before and the hour after.
Even need motion that. It's just-
I wouldn't think so.
Okay. The only other thing I have, just a couple of reminders, the Earth Day event is at the Dana Lansing Building. That's April 25th. Evan will be down there. He'll be presenting at 9:30 for recycling. And then another note is May 16th at the recycling center. We're going to be open that morning on Saturday from 8 to 11. We're going to try it and we're going to take in the appliances, electronics, scrap metal. People have scrap metal. It's not for free. It's the $20 we'll charge for the stuff that we charge for currently, but we're trying to help out on a Saturday, because some people, if they can't during the week, we're gonna try it from 8 to 11 and we'll see the response that we get. And if it is favorable, we probably plan on doing another one in the fall.
Just a quick review, what do you accept for no charge out of recycling?
Well, scrap metal, laptops, batteries, many types of batteries we take. Try to get them obviously to us instead of them ended up in the landfill. But the charge stuff is the TVs and refrigerators and that nature.
No charge, like household appliances, like toasters and blenders.
Yeah,
Radios and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Grills, bicycles.
yeah.
Any kind of
Lawnmowers.
lawnmowers, bicycles, including scrap metal that is not meant to go into the regular recycling containers.
Because we just as soon have the scrap metal in the bins at our drop site instead of the ones at the sites, because when they throw it in there, then we have to dig it out of there.
Sort it out.
Yeah, we had to dig
That
one
can be
out.
hazardous.
We had to kind of do a little digging this morning from one and it wasn't real pleasant. But
And obviously cardboard and which number plastics?
right now, 1 and 2 is what we're taking. We're in
What are
this-
they?
be like, any of your water bottles, Gatorade, milk jugs, all those pop bottles, yeah, and beverage cans, we take them also. So, any questions, we're on the website or feel free to give us a call.
Yeah, but
Yeah, TJ give a 30-second on the rechargeable battery, lithium batteries.
That's a big deal for us. I'm at the landfill, Winneshiek County landfill, and lithium batteries, once they're breached, they're 975 degrees. So they start fires at landfills. So Winneshiek County Recycling will take those for free. We do not want to see them out at the landfill. We see too many the way it is. So.
And that includes batteries out in your remote control.
The
anything
anything lithium.
Yeah, anything lithium rechargeable, even non-rechargeable. A lot of them are lithium nowadays. And yeah, it can just be a little hearing aid battery. That's lithium. And we run it over, and we breach it, and it's 975 degrees like that.
When was the last fire that occurred at the landfill?
Last week.
Having almost one a week.
Yeah, our operators are very good at trying to locate them. We're all nervous that 4 o'clock comes, we leave, we don't notice it. And then it burns when we're not there. We do have thermal cameras that will send me a text if it does show up. But who knows? I don't wanna rely on that. Yeah, please recycle. I'll take it for free.
On a battery issue, you lost your shed out there.
Yes, yeah, we lost our shop also.
You're at home and you
24.
leave it could be you're leaving it charged it'll leave you charged overnight in your garage. It could. I'm not saying it is, but it could.
It could.
You don't need that, yeah.
So another thing, Jeff, you do take, for the public to know, you do take waste oil so that it's not dumped at the landfill or on the ground or whatever.
And preferably in 5-gallon containers, no bigger, so that way it's easier for us to handle. And then we have brand new containers there that we get, and we gladly hand them out when they bring one to us. So works pretty good, because actually the oil ends up, most of it goes to TJ. So they burn it there. So it's kind of a win-win. Yep, antifreeze we take too.
That's for free.
Yep.
And any other questions, just visit your website.
Yep, that or call. We get a lot of calls during the day asking if we take this or that. So, and if we don't answer, sometimes we're not in the office. People usually leave a message and we get back to them. So.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Can I say something? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just a reminder that if people go to winneshiewaste.com, they can find out what is and is not taken at the recycling center. winneshiewaste.com.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Michael Kueny, our county engineer. Morning, Mike.
Good morning. Good, you.
That call Friday, he said, tell the guys, thanks, guy down in Canoe down there, he said. He came to town Friday, he said, it's bills. Good job, great.
Well, that's not my.
I called Darren and let him know, but.
Good.
Yeah, I just said, bring it up, yeah, no, he said, tell the guys, give them thanks.
I'll try to let, I remember that an email from that one, so. So I'll just go through this and then we don't have in my report the names of the seasonal hires, so I've got that information right here. Since the last meeting, there's nothing new on the build grant. Bridge inspector was here not this week, but last week. For the railroad flat car bridge study, coordination needs to be done. There's nothing new this week. Subdivision data was gathered. There's nothing new this week. Nothing new on Quarry Hill. We have filled all of the positions for Summer Tech help. The Summer Tech help is Preston McCabe and Jordan Sims. Carter Schmoss is an engineering student who has agreed that his primary role will be summer mowers, but we will be looking to use him perhaps throughout the summer as a engineering tech as well to get him experience. He's was very professional in his request, but we wanted to get him. We wanted to get, if you remember a couple weeks ago, I wanted to get people who were 1 year in as a priority. So
we need approval of these hires, right?
yes, and then
Can you say those again so I can make, or give me the list when you're done. and I'll-
yeah, I have the list right here.
Okay,
So
that'd be great.
and you'll see both of them with
I just
an
need to get
asterisk.
minutes.
So that's the Summer Tech help.
You want to approve that now?
Yeah.
I motion to approve the summer help.
I think he wants to list the mowers and put them all in one.
Do you wanna do all in one?
Okay.
I'll go ahead and do that right now then. The summer mowers are Jackson Goltz, Lee Gedkin, Matthias Bakken, and Carter Schmoss.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the hires of the seasonal employees, as Mike has aforementioned. Is there any further discussion? If none, all those in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Bridge 307, second pier, west of the abutment from the pier is being, is under construction as of Friday.
That'd be the one south and west the Ridgeway then.
Correct.
Yeah. Across the Turkey.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We got a pier right there in the river bend, so it's a challenge. But the pier 2 is under construction with the coffer dam up. They're driving tile either today or tomorrow. And the deal is today. Engineers working with IT department on making all survey equipment Windows 11 compliant. This is a security issue. Survey equipment and software has been migrated to the new operating system. We're taking old files and taking them, all the survey files, so migrating them now to the new equipment that is Windows 11 compliant, so that we can still operate some of our old projects. 410s, the schedule 410s started today. Freeport shop has an opening. The engineer assigned the assistant foreman from Freeport to Locust. And the engineer and superintendent are working to optimize the personnel around this vacancy. Preliminary discussions with Brunings suggest an April start for rock resurfacing. Fluoride will be applied with eye control rock near County Road or Prairie Farmer Trail. We do something about that, so what we're doing is we're taking our fluoride bags, mixing it in with the ice control rock in a bucket, and we'll lay that out and blade mix it over top of the road. The idea here is that will be less dusty, and then also it should be a form of stabilization, so it'll harden up the road itself as well. So this is kind of a pilot for a lot of different.
Which shops ice control rock are you using for
I'd have to talk to Darren. He just mentioned it. I think, who did he say he had on working on that? I'll have to get back to you. It'd be either Austin or Freeport. So, actually, no. It's for
It was,
Fort Atkinson, because I remember the name.
that? Okay.
explain that, that's for, hauling when we're gonna, it's for the.
What two roads really?
It's where the Prairie Farm Trail, over by Conover Road, there's the trail crosses kind of over there, and then basically, we were having trouble with dust, and so there was an accident that I don't know the story on,
There was
but
a fatal accident there years ago.
15 years ago.
so we're just trying this out here as a possibility.
Bicyclist that was hit by a vehicle on the road.
And so the idea is to increase our ice control and do some of this mixing and have this applied at strategic locations throughout the county. Notably, kind of a road would be a major one, as that road goes south real quick. Nasty Campground ribbon cutting occurred on Saturday. I did not attend due to my son's soccer game. I apologize for Barb on that. There's the Ridgeway shop on Friday. Trying to work our calendar software. That calendar that I sent out to everyone from summer help and trying to get it into the software solution. Tried some stuff out on Friday. Did the Ridgeway then. Equipment operator 2, the scoop position. The new hire will begin Monday next week. And then met with the bridge inspector over Teams to discuss Bridge 164 on Friday. But Bridge 164 is the abutments are starting to bulge out at a very quick rate. So that is the biggest red flag that has come from the bridge inspectors work done these past 2 weeks.
Where's 164?
It's down by Monique. I'm forgetting the road it's on exactly, but it's on a north-south road. It's built pretty high, so and there's quite a bit of conveyance, so there's a lot of water there. So it's not an easy, cheap fix or repair. So the repairs would be something like digging out the abutments and then relaying the superstructure and deck.
Is that a metal bridge or?
It's got metal beam, steel beams, with concrete deck, and then they top it off with the concrete. But it's pretty high up, and just that amount of height is creating situations right for that bulging is happening. So we'll be changing the posting on that bridge and perhaps integrating it into the CFYP at some point in time. The CFYP presents the non-DOT approved 5-year program. There was some GPS mapping issues that I had not addressed as of last week, so I have a copy of same document. It just on the top right, it says status DOT approved. And this is just the paperwork issue. So I have another copy if you'd like to see it.
It doesn't need approval, we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't formally approve the CFYP since it had not been. This is kind of a new process for DOT over the last couple of years. So.
Anyone like to take action?
I'd motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the secondary roads 5-year program. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. This one has to be signed, Mike.
Yes,
Any color ink?
I think so.
Well,
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
DOT,
purple
it's a,
Yeah. Good. Sounds good. That's all I have. So do you have anything else?
Yeah, no, I'm pleased to hear that that's starting to go down on that using the stabilization of the calcium in that area out there, because that was really a hazard for the bicyclists that were coming across. It's a wide stretch of road right there. And apparently when I was made aware of it by one of our neighbors out there in that area who said that as it was apparently the story goes, there was a semi came by there, big dust cloud, biker was waiting on the trail, thought it was clear enough, didn't see the second semi coming. And it was a fatal accident. So if this, and since Micah was planning on some test patches, this is a wonderful place to test it out first and find out.
And I have to give a lot of credit to the superintendent because he said, "Oh, we can do that." And all was real gung ho about doing something like this. So need to thank him.
And it's important to know it's not just a dust control measure. That's a side effect of a positive part of the base stabilization.
The idea here is that in this case, this is a dust control measure, but we are testing this out to see if it can work with base stabilization method.
And that road gets heavier traffic, so that's a good one.
It's, it is a fantastic one to test it on, so I heard about this and I thought this would be great to do, so.
Good job.
Which product is it, chloride or the other one?
It's calcium chloride,
Chloride, good one.
so, yeah, it's what we buy in bulk, packages of that, so we're just buying more this year and.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Consent agenda?
You got the minutes, the claims, and the auditor's quarterly report.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Committee reports.
Historic Preservation met Saturday morning and was hosted by the Beely Clocks in Spillville.
How was it?
It was a delightful thing. They had some were able to stay for a presentation afterwards. Beely Clocks really rolled out the carpet for them with kolaches and coffee and gift bag and flowers on the table, and they really hosted them to the tens. It was really nice to see. And it was a good thing because many people have not seen the Beely clock since they were perhaps taken by school bus when they were young. And so that's really a remarkable piece of our local history that everyone gets amazed when you really go look and see what those farmers did in a long winter and how they did it.
I think just their whole perception of a world that they never got further than, what, 36 miles from home.
35 miles away. So there's lots of history. Even the car that they owned, they took out the additional front seat. One sat in the front, one sat in the back. So that made room for the beer. So history goes, but it's really a wonderful treasure that we have in Winneshiek County.
And they never carved off a digit on
No.
with their knives.
So and so I think the Historic Commission is going to probably do another one up in the northern part of the county in a few months up at.
Goes Wilder.
I'm sorry?
Lori goes Wilder.
I'm not sure exactly where they're going to go, but this has kind of stirred them up, I hope, to where they're not just meeting here in the annex, but going out into some of our local treasures and hosting meetings out there also.
I had public health last week, and last week was public health week, but Krista didn't think it was necessary for her to come in here and proclaim it, so I thought it should have been. I mean, all the other organizations do, but she didn't think it was a necessity.
State ordinance says those are supposed to come from us.
Yeah.
On 331.
So she didn't.
I've got, well, just a second. And while you talked about public health, we got a letter that the annual county jail tour was conducted. And it states in here, the jail staff are to be commended for their continued hard work in keeping the jail clean, well-maintained, and providing appropriate and exceptional care to our inmates. So it's a real positive.
We do once a year, we do a jail tour. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I've got a juvenile detention on Wednesday. They have hired a lobbyist to help lobby for, the way the state wants to do it now is that most of the funds for juvenile detention, bulk of them go to 3 counties in the state. And you can guess which ones those are probably, and then everyone else just gets what's left over. So they want a more equitable division of the resources in the state. So we'll see how that goes.
We had a workforce development board meeting again last week about the merger of the East Central region with the Northeast region, and that's just continuing. If it occurs and if everyone agrees to it, if there is a real advantage, they're trying they're exploring what other monetary savings may be recognized from it. Concern in the future is the fact that with the much of the funding for that is from federal funding, and many of those sources are being diminished. And so the impact on how that'll be is coming up with a lot of unknowns. So nothing is known yet. They're still exploring. And if it possibly did occur, it wouldn't occur until July of 27. So it's a lot to go in between.
And I did have a Hawk meeting last week. Approve some financial activities.
I have a conservation meeting tomorrow, so I should have some updates after that on how the. And we're putting away on the nasty.
Talked to some people over there. They said it was a great event, so.
There is no landfill meeting tonight, correct?
No. Not till May, I think next May or June.
Okay. Andy, are you on? Fine? Oh, he is not.
He's right here.
He's here in person. Hi.
Next up, Andy.
That sounds good. What do you have for me?
Thank you for your insight and your response last night.
Yeah, that was the question I had. How much use does the conference room over there actually get?
Which conference room?
At
Ben's?
Oh,
uh,
community service.
Community
Oh.
service.
Very little.
Little to none.
I was gonna say, you could probably back off to 3 offices if that's available for conference space. You know,
Oh,
bulk
yeah.
area for copy and stuff. Like I was saying to you, you would need to have a dedicated space at the 3rd floor here. In the midst of a hearing, something comes up, you need to go print an exhibit, you can't be expected to go back. You might get a 5-minute break to do that, but and to just in between hearings, having that space to get some work done.
So I must not have heard that.
No, this,
So the idea would be that if the county attorney's office is over there and conference room, that they would still have they could do that if they had a dedicated office here.
On the 3rd floor.
yeah, to fill in because Mark and Mark, you have, or Shirley has not heard this. I did some more research last week on what other spaces could possibly be used, even any possible space on the court level. The 3rd floor, i.e. really is noted as the 2nd floor according to the building plans. And of seeing what was available up there, I spoke with one of the judges it was after hours and she was still there and talked to her. There is the corner above the treasurer is the least used of that floor. There is a court reporters.
Not above the treasurer.
Yes, yeah, that's right above the
No,
treasurer's
that's
office.
probation's office. So
Right, but also the one next to it in the middle is above, see, because where the end office is, where juvenile is, that's above the
sure.
Vault in the treasurers. So the court recorder's office right there is used to a limited extent, and it's according to the judge that I spoke with. She said it might be possible to utilize the corner clerk's office within the judge's chambers because most of the court reporters appear to be some travel with the judge and some are here part-time for a different judge that travel around to various different places and that they could be accommodated there. I don't know.
And I want to speak for them, and it seems to me that lot 5 in Canada gives the judges there, or the court reporters there on a permanent basis, the ability to put and keep their property secure when they're on the road in other counties. But the other space that I think is right now is underutilized up there is the public defender's office that is leased because they haven't replaced that position yet. So that's on the opposite corner,
Right above,
Bob,
right
why
above
is
Ben's
it-
office.
essentially. Magistrate has an office there, and then there's a second smaller office there.
Yeah, that, or the probation office could be used if the probation department was moved off campus. That's a possibility.
It could, I gotta tell you, it's been really nice since they moved up there. Because let's face it, there's a lot of crossover between who goes into their office and who goes into the large courtroom on Tuesdays. And having that connection has been very helpful. So I mean, I'd hate to lose them up there. But then it's a possibility.
Yeah, so those might be two possibilities. And Andy's idea was if the general staff of the county's attorney's office was relocated to the CSB building and we accommodate space over there. Andy, there was a third floor space that Andy could use in between where the staff could meet to discuss or waiting for something else, not have to travel back and forth. As long as we simply provided the normal functions that we have within the courthouse of copying internet and so forth, that's all available to them in that space.
And the biggest issue there, in my mind, is we're pretty much paperless, but if you get thrown a curve in a hearing or in a trial, you want to be able to walk in and print your document. So having a
Yep.
dedicated printer in that office would be critical, I think, and scanner. I mean, you know, the normal stuff, but you're gonna have two sets instead of just the one at the service building, you're gonna have to put something in it.
I think that could be easily accommodated. And we certainly have all the internet connections and anything like that that would be there. It was a matter of then which space would be the best to try to function, moving the other staff into the CSB building.
My take on the CSB building, I mean, I'd sooner keep all of them entities here. Because the groups that are at the CSB building, you got HHS, you got Spectrum, you got Kuboushek. I would sooner see maybe public health moving there, because them are all entities that kind of collaborate together. Maybe you throw lawyer, I mean, it's just, to me, that would be more, all them entities would collaborate kind of together, where you throw it may not, because you got Spectrum Industries, there's a lot of, clients.
Yeah.
It's, once you've been down there. look
Steve and I
around,
spoke
it's-
last night, and I kind of expressed to him that before we adjourn the meeting, that maybe the group of us here should go through and tour the whole courthouse, so we know. We have a pretty good idea of all the space, but I mean, until you really see it all, you don't know.
Yeah, the other that Mark approved last week spoke about trying to configure utilizing a portion of the recorder's office and perhaps with the IT space that's adjacent, how that could possibly be configured. It could possibly occur if you could accommodate, since the auditor's office, the assessor's office and the recorder's office work hand in hand. Perhaps there's a way to relocate the assessor's office up into those combined spaces, since they are so hand in hand, we could accommodate that. And if so, then we could utilize the space on the basement level first floor as the attorney's office in the assessor's space without any major reconfigurations.
Yeah.
I think
And I
one
think
thing,
in an ideal world, that space is a better space all the way around.
Right.
Yeah.
In response to your question last night, that's why I threw out the other option.
you would prefer though that you would think, not you, but for the county attorney, future one, that there's actual offices. The assessor's office is all one big. There's even the assessor's office is just a accordion door thing, so you need to make some private areas.
Yeah, that'd be the easiest.
Victim witness coordinator, as an example, does collections also, so she's on the phone frequently. And, you know, it's, if all you have is a accordion door or a half wall, you lose her confidentiality in talking to people, and, you know, everybody listens to the conversation or has to listen to the conversation, kind of like that person talking on their cell phone in public, you know, it's, you're forced to be part of the conversation. And I think the county attorney and the assistant county attorney are meeting and discussing search warrants, case preparation, meeting with law enforcement, meeting with witnesses. That's also conversations that should not be shared outside of whoever is participating.
I also think, I mean, veterans could be moved over there
No,
to accommodate. Why not?
no, because them,
Too big a space.
no, no, because they come in there. I ain't a veteran, but just by hear people talking, they're not they don't like change. Then we may lose whatever she's gained on what. No, them guys, ladies and gentlemen, did their part. We're not moving them. I'm gonna stay here all day.
I think we could accommodate them better
No,
than what they are here.
no, because they need bathroom. The bathrooms are right there. Everything's right there for them.
The kind of thing right there, I'd really hate to disrupt what's going so well.
Yeah, we have.
She
Numbers that she's put out there.
She goes above and beyond help. Then these ladies and gentlemen deserve our respect, and that is. I've had a long talk with her, and I brought a few points that she didn't even, you know.
I have nothing against what we do for veterans, but I
No.
also think we could make a better space for them over there.
No, because they come here, they go up to the treasurer's office, they may get their light, they do spend.
Yeah,
She
we
just
can't
helps them
locate-
direct some more, they go there, it's a one-stop shop for them. And like I said, I've never been one, and I don't know what they went through, but it's nothing good. And simple and easy as we can keep it for them to be able to come in and get their work done is, yeah.
And
Some people don't like a lot of people, so they come right in, they go right there, they go get their done, and they can leave. Yeah.
In
And along those lines, quite honestly, in our office, having a single entry point is pretty important. Whether, I mean, we occasionally have people who are not particularly pleased or satisfied with the work that we've done on behalf of the state of Iowa. And I think it's important to control the access point as much as possible, and that would that probably isn't the place to do that.
Andy, you were referring to the assessor space as it exists. Yes, that corner could be easily made into a private office where Jim sits in the very corner without much difficulty. And the other office that would accommodate private conversations would be the area that's under Ben's.
It's in my vault.
In his vault. It's that's certainly private.
Yeah,
And that
that's
would be
the one,
accommodated.
like, separate room in there right now, so that would be easy.
So if you could create one more private space and then have
You could do
a
that.
conference space, I think.
I think if you replace some of those dividers and, you've got the new assessor sitting here, so you
Gentleman
can,
sitting right in the back there.
he's here too, so you can get his count, but those dividers where Dawn sits, if you actually built some walls in there.
Yeah.
And that has a separate door then that comes in from.
It'd be an easy room you can figure
Yeah,
out.
in Jim's office, there is that other door that comes in.
Front
Receptionist.
reception area. Any of that, there's a lot of space that could be reasonably remodeled to accommodate the needs of that department. If that were the case, you would not need the third floor space.
Correct.
And so that would eliminate that. Then it's a question of looking at the other, the cost of moving veterans and utilizing that corner is, like we discussed last week, is pretty excessive because of what we'd have to do to create space in the vault, to create enough room, and the cost of digitizing all of those records of the treasurers is prohibitive from, somewhere in the range of $500,000 to $700,000.
Yeah,
We can do a
no,
lot of remodeling for a lot less than that.
I'm gonna stand up here all day long for they're staying where they're at.
And I spoke with both Faith and the chairman of her board, and went through all of these previously, and I would recommend against moving the veterans office, is my opinion. And we leave sanitation and P and Z as they are is an easy change. If it can be accommodated of moving the assessor up to the second floor and make that workable with those two departments, because everything that both of them are doing is completely open. There's no confidentiality issues there that I can detect. Is there anything you know of, Ben?
Not that I know of, but I mean, they're gonna have, the assessor's gonna have people coming in to
Yeah.
complain or make appeal, which you don't want just happening in an old big.
But he can go off.
There's an office that we could, all of that can be accommodated. I don't know, the assessor to be is definitely going to get some change associated with his move.
Yeah. He's back there smiling.
He's got a dark glasses and hat on, so.
Because there's definitely an office where you can find that on second floor. I mean, right between your office and the treasurer's office, that
Yeah, I mean, need to go in and have a
used very little in there.
heart to heart, you can go in there.
Ben might be able to offer that up.
Well, I've said that if that's where you need to go, that's where you need to go. I'll have to find some place to do.
But I mean, if we
Yeah,
just needed,
elections.
I mean, if we needed to go in there for a
Oh, for
conference.
conferencing, that would be perfect, because it isn't,
Yeah.
except during election time, it isn't
Yeah.
frequently used.
And we don't have, and again, we had the option of, this was developed as with the ability to add a second floor, but the expense of that plus handicap entrance and so forth is difficult. Elevators are a costly item to add. That's really not a very good option.
And I mean, to stand out at the state level, they recommended us to try to unite and consolidate and cut costs, so. I mean, here we are, we have to.
How long,
Do our job.
Jared, is the timeline when people have the opportunity to come in and protest the value?
From April 2nd to like May 1st.
So,
But then the board starts meeting after that during May,
Yeah.
mhm.
but they walk in year round.
So it really is a short timeline in between there where they're actually coming in to protest the
For
public.
the actual protest part.
Yes.
But even that IT room can be partitioned off, or, I mean, there's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, that can be,
I think you could probably get just, and Jared maybe needs to go look at it too, because he's maybe not familiar with it, but I think you could get
three.
for sure two and maybe three of the staff in that room. So then you're only looking at, Jane is here, could you find a portion to put the fourth person, or, that kind of thing is what you'd have to talk about.
Is it feasible to share the reception counter space within Jane's office and
So if we gave up any of our counter space, we wouldn't qualify to do passports anymore. Because that's the only reason we qualify. When they first came in to inspect us, it was the L-shaped counter that allowed us to continue to do passports.
if we don't lose the L-shaped counter, that would still be, those things could probably be worked out to some degree.
I mean, the assessor could still have a small reception counter just inside the door of that IT room, and then.
Can I do that?
We can look and see, we just have to walk.
Well, and just kind of going off of what Jane stated on when she sent us too, how closely the assessor's office and the recorder's office work together.
So the L-shaped counter you talk about, it has to be only passports can be done
Right,
at that counter.
Mhm. So when the separation between birth certificates and passports, issuing passports became requirement. They came in and, well, they inspect our office every 2 years. And because we were able to, have a private area for people with passports on that, they said that qualified, having that one L. And we need a counter, you know, spent a lot of time helping the other people with recording, birth certificate, our ORVs and DNR stuff we use on them. So we need the whole counter. And we need access, you know, from the board.
So all this discussion, I don't feel we're any closer.
I think we ought to take a look, see, and take a walk. I think your idea of pausing the meeting and looking at the spaces.
At the end before we-
And that's the last item here, so you could just go.
Can I ask some questions?
Sure.
My name is Kueny, and I'm court. I think the judge that you happened to talk to the other day was a visiting judge. She comes on Wednesdays, but she's not yet. So she probably didn't have a lot of information for you. If you're thinking of taking any space up on the third floor, I guess I would like to address those issues. The space that you're discussing at the end of the hall, which is currently the public defender's office. Correct, but she isn't handling much in our area right now. I'm not sure how often she uses the office. That may be an issue for the county attorney space, because when we have jury trials, our jury hangs out in that hallway. And the jury room is right there as well. So to have the county attorney down there, I wouldn't be favorable. Sometimes even block off that hallway and don't let staff in the courthouse use it during jury trials. The other space that's not used as often, I did bring a calendar. I know one of you was out there trying to find one. This one has a more accurate of when we actually use the courtrooms. This is scheduled court days. There's magistrate, juvenile, and there's the district days. We schedule trials here when Howard County schedules so that we can share the judge if their trials go out. I guess I just want to approach if you're thinking of taking any of the space up there that we get a chance to talk. This one's a little bit more detailed because I added.
This one does not do well with no children.
No, and that's an in-house. We just use that to make sure we schedule the right court days, but, and it was easier to do on a big one rather than our little private meeting. And we have our court administrator here and a supervisor as well, if you have any questions about any of the court space upstairs.
I think the state public defender's office is a lease that we do with the state. And since their last public defender left, they haven't rehired. So we haven't had, I don't think that room's been used.
They have rehired. Yeah, they have rehired, but she doesn't cover a lot in Winneshiek County right now. She's covering Howard, Buchanan. Some of the area counties, but not much here right now because they're more in need and we have more public defenders to come here.
My point is, I think that could be accommodated with dealing with the state public defender's office. And if the hallway were an issue, we could take a look at moving juvenile court to that side because they're once a week or twice a week. And dedicate the juvenile court office if we end up not utilizing space in the courthouse.
All parts of considering how we do a move.
Yeah, I really thought retirement would be a lot easier than this.
And you have until June 2nd to go ahead. I'll sign your paper.
Okay. Thank you, Andy.
I may stick around if it's all right.
No, that's fine.
Please do.
That's fine. If you stick around to the end, that's great. I have a question for you later anyway. All right, move on to the miscellaneous, first of which is to remove the Calmar Courier as an official county newspaper because
They're closed. We did get a notice from them directly, not just the rumors that. And so they said that their last publication was last 7th last week. So They are no longer, and I figure since the board makes a motion in January to name them a county newspaper, we should probably have you remove them so that there isn't this requirement that we publish in some place where we don't have the ability to publish anymore.
I motion to remove Calmar Courier as one of our official papers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to remove the Calmar Courier as an official county newspaper. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Employee Assistance Program renewal.
This is the program that you provide for the employees, providing counseling, mental health benefits for employees at no additional charge to them. We get so many hours, each employee can have so many hours per year under our contract. Something you started about a year ago, and Lynn sent you the utilization reports. You could see how many people have been taking advantage of it. It isn't a very expensive.
No, it's for 125 employees, the per employee cost is $26 per person for
the year.
Yeah.
For the year.
So it isn't.
So a total of
$32.50. So it's relatively cheap. Anyone want to take it?
I do think a lot of it deals with mental health, and that's probably important.
We have a fair number of our employees are in a high stress environment.
So
So
I would motion to approve.
Take a choice.
Well, okay, we got a motion and a second for approval. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Next up, discuss PTO policy.
Mark Falda asked that we put this on a future agenda. If you think it's too busy today to bring it up, that's up to you guys. I did print out what the board had put together. 7, 8, 9, something like that years ago when we last talked about this, and handed that out so that you could see if that was a starting point for you to discuss it some more. That's up to you.
We have a lot on the agenda for next week.
I don't think so.
In favor of looking at
Next
this
week
now
we
again.
Yeah, we'll take this and read through it and we can discuss it next week.
Table it next week. If we go on a tour, we need to leave the meeting open.
Yeah.
And then close.
We can pre-prepare for who's gonna,
I make the motion, close.
I'll second the adjournment.
call that for a vote later. Just as another note, the food pantry has a newsletter here, which I'll just lay on the table. If anybody wants to see it, to me, read it. It's full on there.
Yeah.
No.
For those online, we're going on a tour of some courthouse office space, so. And they'll adjourn at the end of the tour, so the online portion of the meeting can be over.
Do you want to come along?
We are gonna hang this up in our office in the vault. I just wanted to be a thing. Okay.
What's the name of the judge from where, she lives out west here. Judge.
Nicole, Lene, Nicole.
He was, it was late on Friday and she happened to still be in the office as I was trying to explore all of these options.
Sure.
He was she was accommodating to trying to ask as she could.
Right, yeah.
That's because this is, everyone has issues over everything about this proposed change is necessary just because he retired.
I know, if we could talk you into staying, we'd do it, but we've tried.
I'll sign it.
I just got back from visiting my daughter and her family in Argentina.
Yeah.
I don't think you could convince me.
Yeah.
So I knew that you were down there and but you were still responding.
Yeah, well,
Wonderful, Andy.
we have internet everywhere, it seems like.
Beautiful fall weather.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Understand what it is, right?
Yeah,
So we're gonna lock this.
I got your email, by the way. And
Which door is it?
Listen, I take, we did this with frac sand. And
We'll probably go with that.
copy the basis of her. Figure out.
Fatima, you can shut down the recording and the meeting because they aren't gonna meet again. Thank you.